And some rainfall overnight, along with moisture increasing, has allowed fog to develop across the area. So something to be aware of if you've got to be out on the road this morning. Temperature-wise, we're also pretty humid and mild in the lower 70s. So that's going to kind of be the story today, is some cloud cover and maybe a few showers and thunderstorms mixing in. A cool front is now stalling out in the area. It's not going to bring any relief, but it could help keep these showers and thunderstorms on and off as we go throughout the afternoon. Notice this morning they're mainly south of the lake, and we do have a few stronger storms trying to develop along lower Terrebonne, going towards lower Plaquemines Parish, towards Grand Isle, and over towards Buras. We also have a little downpour that's just popped up south of the West Bank, southeast of Belle Chase. That's going to continue to head to the east. So if you get under one of these, expect some thunder, some heavy downpours, and maybe some gusty winds up to 30 miles per hour. We can't rule out a few strong storms this afternoon, mainly for some small hail and gusty winds. The tornado threat very, very low, but it is something we'll be keeping an eye on for you. But the severe weather threat today is very, very low. Tomorrow, though, it does jump up. We're still watching the threat for severe thunderstorms, mainly Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. And that zone that has the highest probability of seeing storms tomorrow will once again, just like last Sunday, be north of the lake and mainly up into Mississippi, from Hattiesburg, Jackson, over towards Montgomery, Mobile. This is where we can expect the more widespread severe thunderstorm reports, including high winds, large hail, and maybe even a few tornadoes. Now, as you get towards New Orleans, the risk or the probability of seeing storms will start to drop off, and then that continues to drop as you get a little bit closer to the coast. So severe weather tomorrow is not a guarantee for the area, but we do have that chance, so you want to stay weather aware. Here's what it looks like on your models by your hour by hour. That cold front stalls out this afternoon, maybe a few storms trying to pop up, especially along and south of that boundary. It will shoot back to the north later this evening into tonight as a warm front. That will allow that instability and a lot of those ingredients to come together for severe weather. And then Sunday morning, it looks like we will start fairly dry. Now, by the time we get into the afternoon hours, it looks like we could start to see a few storms develop, but remaining fairly isolated. We'll have to watch to see if we can get any development kind of ahead of this cluster of storms. And then as we go into the later afternoon, evening hours, we could start to see more of those storms with that cluster move into our area. But notice this model keeping the brunt of it just north of the lake and up towards Jackson. So this is why that enhanced risk, that level 3 out of 5, is mainly north of the lake going up into Mississippi. But it's not to say we cannot see the kind of tail end of this system swing on through as we go past sunset tomorrow. So that's why we do have that risk for severe weather going all the way to the coast. Now, looking at that tornado threat, it is also greatest north of the lake and really up towards Hattiesburg and going into Alabama. And where you see this hatched area, that is where you could see some stronger tornadoes. So overall, it does not look as dynamic as last week's system, meaning we don't have nearly the ingredients for strong violent tornadoes and widespread violent tornadoes like we saw last Sunday. But we could certainly see 1 or 2 strong tornadoes, especially in this yellow area, which is where you're a little bit more likely to see probably a tornado. Now, as you get closer to New Orleans, that risk does drop. It does not mean it's zero, though, so you want to stay weather aware. And remember, it only takes that one storm for it to be a bad day for you. Now, as I mentioned, the severe weather is not a guarantee tomorrow, and not everyone is going to see the heavy rainfall. But it is possible, and if you do get under one of those thunderstorms, you will have the chance to see high winds, hail, and maybe an isolated tornado. Also, a quick update on the Mississippi River. If you were watching or on social media last night, I posted about it. It got up to 17.61 feet, which is very, very high. It was actually during high tide that happened. And the last time it was above that was actually back in 1975. So the river will continue to run high. The good news, the levels up around Donaldsonville and Baton Rouge is already starting to drop. So hopefully that trend will continue downstream here in New Orleans as we go throughout the next couple of weeks. And we'll just hope we don't get any big rain events up to our north, because that's what's been feeding the Mississippi River running so high. So rainfall for our area, not expecting big totals from any of this, by the way. The flooding threat looks like it will remain mainly north over into Alabama and Georgia. We're dry by Monday and Tuesday, and then it looks like, well, we might do it all over again, Paul, as we go into Wednesday and Thursday with thunderstorms in the forecast.
We got to